most auroch. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The only alpha animal in the Siege of Paris DLC, you'll find this unassuming bull minding its own business in a pasture. Cross the fence, and you'll be faced with a level 400 monster. At close range, it can gore and kick you, while it's also capable of charging very quickly if you try to keep your distance. What makes it more annoying, however, is that it breaks from the pen at one point and you have to chase it across the map. Luckily, there are plenty of mushrooms around to regain health, and if you're already near max level, you'll be able to tackle the bull with relative ease.
Leave the settlement for months.
The Blood Swine, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Another pig, this one is a little more like the infamous boar bosses from Odyssey, which we'll be getting to later. It's very frustrating, taking big chunks from your health bar if you slip up even once. It isn't one of the higher level alpha animals in Valhalla, but the arena can make things tricky since it's easy for the swine to run and hide in the long grass.
Feel stronger already.
Unless you're locked on and constantly attacking, you could lose it temporarily, giving it a chance to charge at you. Ensure it's always in your line of sight so that you don't fall victim to this cheap trick.
Well done.
Francois Thomas Germain, Assassin's Creed Unity.
He's getting away.
Wait, I'm almost free.
I can take him.
No, you can't. Not alone. Wait for me.
The boss battle itself against Germain isn't too hard, but it is frustrating because the different stages are spaced out in an unnecessarily long mission. You find Germain at the top of the temple for the first phase of the fight, where you sneak around the walls to strike when he isn't looking. But he then disappears and forces you to chase him halfway across Paris.
The direct approach from an...
The optional objectives to sabotage alarm bells and air assassinate guards make this even more frustrating if you're trying to complete them. And if you fail, you have to start from the beginning. This whole mission is hard largely because of these stringent additional requirements. Fulke, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
We're all in the dark, Ava. It is the search for the light that brings us closer to the gods.
This is definitely one of the more satisfying fights, if only because Fulke is a villain we'd love to hate. One of the most sadistic members of the Order, she's the one responsible for capturing Sigurd and cutting off his hand in order to awaken his memories as Tyr. Eivor hunts her down in Sussex where she cowers in a fortress.
If you will not raise your eyes to the light, I will bury you in the dark.
You eventually find her in the cellar, where she hides in the shadows and strikes when you're least expecting it. She also periodically destroys the light sources, adding another layer to this fight. Utilize Odin's sight to illuminate the area and keep her in your sights.
My work will live on for all time.
Bear of the Blue Waters, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You'll have to journey all the way back to Norway to find this alpha animal, which you'll be doing anyway to finally end the main story of Valhalla. This unique polar bear is found alone on an ice float, and puts up a formidable fight. But if you're used to fighting the other bears in the game, it's not the most challenging battle out there because many of the attacks and animations are the same. It also has a habit of standing still during the fight and taking its time to attack, and has long lead-up animations to its swipes, making it very easy to dodge. But if you're under-leveled, you will be destroyed. Kesh and Rashef, Assassin's Creed Origins. There are 4 camps across Origins map where you'll find the war elephants, this game's hidden optional bosses. All the elephants are formidable and can easily trample Bellec if he's not max level, designed to be beaten after you've finished the game and most of the side content. Because Kesh and Rashef are in the same camp though, they're much harder, and require even more strategy than firing arrows from range and staying away from their feet. Rashef will charge you repeatedly while Kesh keeps its distance, with the archer on top constantly shooting at you. Upgrade your equipment and stock up on arrows because you're definitely going to need them. Black Stout, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This alpha animal in Valhalla's other DLC, the Black Stout is much more intimidating than the Ghost Auroch. You can find it in the center of the map in the aptly named Black Pig's Dyke in Connacht. Boars are always challenging in Assassin's Creed, and this one is no exception, with the biggest tusks of any beast we've felled in the series. It's an arduous battle, and the Black Stout's attacks have a wider range than you'd expect, but going through it is all worthwhile because you get the Bone Sickle as a reward. Valhalla only has 2 sickles, both found in Ireland, so if you want to dual-wield sickles, and who doesn't, this boss is a necessity. Tutankhamun, Assassin's Creed Origins.
I will not betray mine.
The hardest boss in Origins Curse of the Pharaohs DLC, Isadora eventually uses the Apple of Eden to conjure a demonic version of King Tut. While in real life, Tutankhamun died when he was only around 18 and had a plethora of health issues, in the game, he's a formidable foe. At level 52, he's extremely powerful and will destroy you if you're not appropriately leveled, which you should be if you've done everything Origins has to offer. But it's a fun and rewarding fight too, against such a legendary king wearing his recognizable funerary mask. He's also very fast and you'll need to dodge constantly. Not easy in Origins where the dodge button isn't the most reliable. The Storm Fortress, Assassin's Creed Rogue. You'll find this legendary ship battle in one of the easiest areas of the map, but don't let that fool you. The Storm Fortress is absolutely not a pushover, and is considered by some to be the hardest legendary ship battle in the franchise, and certainly in Rogue. This beastly assassin ship is flanked by 2 others, the Scepter and the Argonaut, the crown jewels of the assassin fleet. This is a mission so tough it can make you rage quit the game and abandon getting 100% completion. Make sure you've upgraded the Morrigan as much as possible and stay behind the ship to avoid the cannons and mortars. The Daughters of Lerion, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Breathe deeply. Watch as I become smoke, and listen as I break your bones!
Found around central England, these 3 bosses take a long time to beat because of their escalating power levels. They can also be very challenging in the early game, even if you're the right level to take out the easiest one, Goneril, who is power level 90. You may have to work on developing a build and leveling up even further to take all 3 of them down. They all have fast attacks that can easily wipe out your health bar, teleporting around the arena.
Too weak and too wild.
You have to learn their patterns, dodge constantly, and ensure you're not getting caught in a combo. Investing in abilities to heal on hit and getting maximum rations are necessary to win these fights and get Thor's armor.
Let's your demons.
Giant Snake, Assassin's Creed Origins. Bellec takes part in a strange ritual in order to find his son's killers, which involves him hallucinating an intense battle with a giant snake. This snake is Apep, the ancient Egyptian embodiment of chaos, and Bellec takes the place of Ra, who does battle with Apep every night so that the sun will rise the next day. With just a mythical bow of light on your side, fighting this extraordinary snake is a daunting challenge. The snake is capable of disappearing from sight and dispatching poisonous ranged attacks, making it a truly nightmarish foe. Dodging and persevering are your only tactics for this fight. Don't get hit, and don't stop shooting. Goodwin, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. One of King Alfred's Templar agents, Goodwin is a formidable knight. Though Assassin's Creed is today known for its fights against massive mythical monsters, the new combat systems can really shine when Eivor is pitted against someone else with a sword or shield. And what a shield Goodwin has. It's huge and will block a lot of your attacks, making it vital to learn his patterns and exploit the weak points in his legs. If you're underleveled, it's still possible to beat the fight by playing smartly, but it's gonna take a long time because he has a huge power level of 340. Some people have made him look easy though, taking him down with no weapons or armor. Erymanthian boar, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Some of the animals in the long-running, far-reaching Goddess's Hunt quest are pushovers, and others will take you dozens of tries to beat. The Erymanthian boar is one such fight. Like the first Kalydonian boar wasn't bad enough, the Erymanthian boar steps things up a gear by dealing poison damage. The boar in the legends needed Hercules to defeat it, who subdued it and carried it all the way to Arges. One of the best methods players found for beating it is to earn a high bounty and trick the mercenaries into following you to its lair. Pay off the bounties just before you enter the fight, and they should aggro the boar as well. Lucius Septimius, Assassin's Creed Origins. One of the most powerful members of the Order of the Ancients, it's Septimius who is pulling a lot of the political strings behind the scenes, enlisting Caesar and Cleopatra in his schemes. He's a worthy foe for the in-game final boss, fought by Aya rather than Bellec, and has a lot of complex moves and attack patterns to memorize. However, what makes the fight trickier is that Aya and Septimius will constantly taunt each other while they battle. While the dialogue is a nice touch that adds to the weight of the encounter, it's definitely distracting and can really throw you off, especially if you keep dying and have to hear it over and over again. Jack the Ripper, Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
That's useless. Try something else, perhaps.
During Syndicate's Jack the Ripper DLC, Evie is called back to London after a long time away because her brother has become the chief suspect in the Whitechapel murders. It's down to her to prove Jacob's innocence and catch the real Ripper, who turns out to be a former assassin recruit seeking to remake the Brotherhood in his own image. He's a difficult combatant, able to block and counter every single one of Evie's attacks. The only way to take him down is by repeatedly escaping and performing various stealth assassinations, which isn't easy given the small arena and his relentlessness. He'll also send lackeys after Evie and seems nigh unkillable. It was definitely a fight worthy of all the build-up.
We're the same, you and I.
Oh, Jack. You were an assassin, yes, but we are not the same.
Sobek, Assassin's Creed Origins. The second deity fought in the trials of the gods, Sobek was always going to be tough. This giant humanoid crocodile is the ancient Egyptian god of the Nile, and it may have also once been believed that the pharaoh was Sobek in human form. Fittingly, you'll find Sobek in the swamps of the Herculon Nome, the northernmost point of the Nile before it opens into the Mediterranean. He's definitely difficult, and you'll need to be the highest level in the game to be within a shot of beating him, but his tactics are too similar to the previous god of the Trials event to be any more challenging. Simply put, Sobek doesn't have the element of surprise on his side. Loki, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
You are out of favors, trickster, and you are welcome to try.
During the Asgard sequence, Eivor, now playing the role of Odin, or Havi, has to go toe-to-toe with Loki, who's furious about the treatment of his son Fenrir. He's one of the most famous figures in the Norse pantheon, so you know they worked hard on this boss fight. It's just him and Odin in an icy arena, but is made all the more complicated by his teleporting attack. It's the teleport alone that makes this tricky, because he can disappear and then attack from any angle. He's also very liberal with the teleport, using it non-stop to constantly get the drop on you. You can't let your guard down with this trickster at all, even when you think you have the upper hand.
You meant to have me killed! I will never forgive that!
Bellec, Assassin's Creed Unity. Pierre Bellec was a master assassin who worked with Charles Dorian and took Arno under his wing after they met at the Bastille. Bellec taught Arno everything he knew, making his betrayal halfway through Unity all the harder to deal with. It turns out Bellec turned on the assassins to stop them from making peace with the Templars throughout the chaos of the French Revolution, but Arno's loyalty to the Brotherhood put them at odds. A dramatic fight at the top of the Sainte-Chapelle ensued, leaving the player wrestling with killing their former mentor just like Arno. It's the trickiest fight in the game, and you'll need to have unlocked specific skills to beat him. Puka, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. While pursuing the druids through Ireland in Valhalla's first DLC, Eivor will encounter a formidable beast called a Puka. More familiar to you or I as a werewolf, the Puka is a violent beast that attacks Eivor through a thick cloud of fog. It will also transform back into an ordinary world from time to time, forcing Eivor to pursue it around the large arena. When in its werewolf form, it's fast and deadly, and you'll need to be able to dodge and parry effectively to avoid getting staggered. The green fog also makes the fight much harder, significantly reducing visibility, and you'll be fighting numerous high-level enemies as well. Arges, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The king of the Greek pantheon, Zeus is famous for wielding mighty bolts of lightning against all those who stand in his way. But Zeus didn't get his lightning from nowhere. The thunderbolts were actually made for him by the Cyclopses, and one in particular, Arges, the Bright One. So it stands to reason that he'd be a pretty tough boss to beat when he was added to Odyssey post-launch. What makes Arges so much harder than the other Cyclopses is he deals a lot of fire damage, fighting the Misthios in an arena of lava while throwing fire bombs. If he lands just one of those bombs, he'll probably have to start over. Kalydonian boar, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Early on in the game, you'll meet Daphne and she'll give you the long Goddess's Hunt quest. You need to travel to Greece to defeat various legendary animals. The one nearest to Daphne, however, and therefore the one most players will fight first, is also arguably the hardest of all. The Kalydonian boar is a vicious beast, especially if you're fighting early on. You may not have unlocked the ability to heal during combat yet, and even when you've mastered its attack patterns, it's still able to take you down with 1 or 2 hits. It also summons various smaller boars during the fight, making it even harder. Basim, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Veteran players will have trusted Basim from the beginning because, after a 5-year hiatus, we finally had a true assassin in these games again. However, trusting Basim is absolutely the wrong thing to do. He has his own machinations and is manipulating Sigurd from the beginning, forcing Eivor to fight him. He makes use of all the assassin tricks players will be familiar with, including smoke bombs, and you'll also have to do some complex platforming as you chase him through an Isu vault. He even catches Eivor with the hidden blade, and can only be defeated by Eivor and Sigurd working together. The Minotaur, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The unholy offspring of a sacred bull and the queen, the Minotaur was so dangerous and shameful that an elaborate labyrinth was constructed to hold it. This legendary monster is one of the Isu remnants you have to hunt down, while navigating the labyrinth found deep underneath Knossos Palace. The Minotaur is one of the most unique and exciting bosses in the game, posing a challenging fight in a small arena where it can be difficult to dodge or use ranged attacks. You need to stay up close with the monster, parrying and blocking his attacks to take him down. Anubis, Assassin's Creed Origins. The Trials of the Gods quest started with a bang by having Bayek immediately face down with the Egyptian god of the dead, the jackal-headed Anubis. Located in the Great Sand Sea, as you get close, Anubis will rise out of the desert to meet you. As the first giant humanoid god you fight in Origins, Anubis is easily the best and most difficult, employing tactics and moves not yet seen in the game. He'll send undead minions to fight you, monstrous canids, and deal nasty area of effect attacks. Keep moving and don't lose sight of the enemies crowding you, or you can be quickly overwhelmed. The Builder, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
A quiet crossing might be best.
When you first encounter the Builder, he's not exactly formidable, but eventually Norse magic begins to take hold and the Builder reveals his trick, becoming a gigantic blue warrior hell-bent on taking down Odin. His hammer has a lot of ranged attacks and a very large swing, but if you stay too close, he's going to do an area of effect attack to knock you away. And that's just the first phase. He'll then do a power-up, and the fight gets even harder, especially if you entered Asgard a little early and you're under-leveled. Make sure you go in with plenty of arrows to make those all-important headshots. Mualim, Assassin's Creed. The first game introduced us to the primary lore and gameplay that all subsequent games will be based on. Specifically, that you'll be routinely assassinating targets and hunting down legendary artifacts. But the very first final boss in the series is difficult because it catches you completely off guard after a game of insta-kill counters and one-hit assassinations. Mualim betrays the Brotherhood to wield the Apple of Eden's almighty power himself, and so Altair is pitted against a superpowered villain with powers you've never seen before. He clones himself, teleports around the battlefield, and sends your own brothers to fight against you. Balor, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Also in the Wrath of the Druids DLC, Balor is an optional boss you could potentially miss. He's also one of the best and hardest bosses in the game, as well as one of the more visually interesting characters Ivor comes to blows with. Boasting a great sword with massive range and leaping attacks that mean he's never too far away, mastering the dodge timings is absolutely imperative for defeating him. The fight takes place in a simple arena with just a few stone pillars for cover, leaving you nowhere to hide. The second phase grants him more attacks, more damage, and the ability to shoot a giant laser from his head. El Umpoluto, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Chaotic naval combat returned with a vengeance in Black Flag, as players took the role of Pirate Edward Kenway. But as part of his long journey from the destitute privateer to a master assassin, you could choose to hunt down 5 legendary ships, which stalk the waters of the Caribbean and attack anyone who draws too near. The nastiest of all is El Umpoluto, a Spanish warship that's bigger, faster, and more damaging than all the other legendaries combined, and it also happens to be the only man-o-war with a ram. You definitely don't want to run into this ship unprepared or underleveled, or you won't get out alive. Fenrir, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Others will fight one another, kill one another.
You speak in riddles.
You already fought the father, now it's time for the son. Fenrir will be very familiar to fans of Norse mythology because he's prophesied to kill Odin, who, of course, is Eivor. Eivor, along with Tyr, go on a mission to bind Fenrir to protect the other members of the Norse pantheon. Fenrir doesn't take kindly to this and bites off Tyr's hand, just like in the legend, before he and Havi do battle. It can be tricky to land a solid hit on Fenrir because of his height and agility, not to mention his ability to tunnel around underneath the arena. The orange lightning doesn't make the battle any easier, and it only ends once you finally bind the beast. Medusa, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The last and most frightening Isu remnant you'll encounter on your Odyssey, Medusa definitely didn't disappoint. Found hidden deep within a petrified forest on the island of Lesbos, you won't stand a chance unless you have all the overpower abilities unlocked and maxed. You'll also need to make sure your weapons are the most powerful ones you can get your hands on, upgraded to meet your level. You've got to hide from her sight while fighting off legions of petrified soldiers she sends your way, and only then does she become vulnerable to damage. But barely. She constantly teleports out of reach, capable of powerful ranged and melee attacks. It's a long, arduous fight where one wrong move can spell doom. Let us know in the comments which Assassin's Creed boss was the most fun to take down.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.